I mentioned there were three principles to think about. The first was more ideas are better than fewer. The second is more minds are better than fewer. Pretty much talked about that. The third one, however, is quite important, and we need to emphasize it, and that is more different minds are better than more of the same. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's go back to 1912, the race to discover the South Pole. At that point in time, the South Pole is arguably the last unexplored spot on the planet, okay? All we know about the South Pole is it's distant, cold, dark. Much like the future that we're all facing, uncertain. There's two teams side by side, literally project teams in parallel who are racing to the pole. One team is led by Robert Scott, a captain in Her Majesty's Royal Navy, early 20th century. That may in fact be the biggest brand in the world. He's got a large group, he's resource rich and ready to go. The other team is led by a failed medical student from Norway, Roald Amundsen. He has a much smaller team, far fewer resources, and he's also ready to go. It's roughly 3,000 kilometers from base camp to the pole and back. It's frigid cold. It's going to be dark for much of the race, and we're going through the unknown. We have no idea whether there are mountains there or not. Scott has more resources, but he's spoken to fewer people. Amundsen has fewer resources, but he's spoken to more and more different people. Scott is outfitted by Burberry. Amundsen is outfitted by Greenlander Eskimos. Now, the Greenland is far away from the South Pole, but the Greenlanders live in cold, forbidding climates, and Amundsen paid a lot of attention to what they wore and what they ate. So Amundsen's team made it to the South Pole 6 weeks before the better-equipped Scott team. Amundsen's team gained weight on their return to base camp after 3,000 miles of going through the frigid cold and taxing conditions. Scott's team never returned. They died of starvation and exposure. The difference between life and death in this case was a difference between who the team spoke to before they went. Amundsen spoke to Eskimos who had lived in the cold, forbidding, unknown. Scott spoke to people who lived in London, who were comfortable in the world around a sophisticated urban area. Scott brought horses to the South Pole when dogs were more appropriate. Who are you talking to? That's the real question. Often, more different minds are better than more of the same, because it's only by consulting different minds that you'll be able to get an edge in thinking about the world around you.